10 things I wish I knew when I first started training, but it didn't actually start here. It started a little something like this. I was this skinny kid, just trying to build some muscle. And that's really what the premise of this YouTube channel started on. I just really wanted to build some muscle. I was tired of being that skinny kid, and all I would do really is just back and forth to the gym, documenting my process. And I've learned a lot along the way, but I was literally just training and eating and training and eating and training on repeat. And then your priorities kind of change. And I just wanted to be able to have a balanced training lifestyle. I wanted to be able to enjoy everything in my life, work, finance, business, while also still keeping and building on the physique that I wanted to achieve. Learn how to fight, learn how to box. I wanted to be competent and confident in all areas in training in my life, running, lifting. So this journey's taught me a lot, and I've got a lot to share. So I wanted to give my top 10 things, just things I wish I knew back then when I first started, that I know now. Okay, I really wish I had a boom microphone. Would be sick. Eventually boys. 10 things I wish I knew 10 years ago. I mean, I've probably been training for 10 years now. It's quite a lot to cram into 10 different things. I could probably list 20, 30, 50 different things, but I'm gonna just go through today just 10 things that I guess stand out for me. 10 things that I've learned through the whole process of training, ways in which have helped, have benefited maybe my training, my longevity, or whatever it is. Number one is going to be structure and routine to what you're doing. There's no point in training and lifting, in boxing, and whatever you're doing. There's not much point in doing many things in your life if you don't have some sort of vigorous structure. For training especially, I would put that down to one, knowledge, but the basics really is just knowing what you're doing week in, week out. That is your split, your workout, exercises, rep ranges, weight, progressive overload, and just training to failure. Like, there's some of the real basics. If you don't know where to start at all, top link in description, free muscle game plan to get you started. So it's just having structure. And I think I spent many years throughout like my training journey, like my lifting journey. I just spent many years just kind of plodding, just like in the gym, just not really knowing what I'm doing, like just picking what I'm doing on the days. Today I'll hit chest, today I'll hit back. Like, have a natural structure. When I've actually had structure in not only my workouts, just but in my life in general, that's where you're really gonna see significant sort of progress. Number two, boys, have variety in your training, especially combat sports. I put combat sports such high on the scale of like skills to acquire, especially for a man, and just in general. Your confidence a lot of the time comes from your competence and just feeling comfortable in not only how you look and how you feel, how you perform, but just being able to look after yourself. I think is very important for a man. It's something I've done the past several years, a couple of years, maybe 4 or 5. But something I wish I'd done even sooner is just steer away from the idea of just training like a bodybuilder. Because unless you're training for a specific goal, i.e. if you're training to become a footballer, boxer, bodybuilder, whatever, you would train that specific way. But if you're not, then having a good variety in your training, I just think is so important. It's something I would put top of the scale. I would probably put this number 1. Stand your base.
Stand your base.
Yeah, I think it just creates so much confidence in anyone, but especially in men, just being able, and it's fun. Like, it's fun because you're learning new sports, you're learning new crafts, you're learning new skills. I think that's what I enjoy most in having variety in my training, is just being able to constantly learn and evolve and just not get bored of training one specific way, just going in the gym with the idea to just lift weights. And I think that's, again, like I said, it's one thing I wish I had done sooner. So this is advice to my younger self or anyone who's in that, I guess, position or predicament now. Just keep the variety in your training. I mean, for combat sports, if you don't know where to start, I would firstly just go to a boxing gym, right? That would be first. Just go to a boxing gym, an actual place, not like your actual gym. Go to a boxing gym or go to a Muay Thai or MMA gym where you can learn from people who just know their craft. And if you don't want to do that to get started, just speak to people in your gym. There's a lot of gyms now where, especially like my gym, there's a lot of people in there who box, who do MMA, Muay Thai, whatever. The nicest people you ever meet, right? So just go and just spark conversation. Like, I get it all the time. Just people come up to me and just ask certain questions, or same thing people ask me, I ask other people as well. So you can't be afraid to, I guess, put yourself out there and speak to people and engage in conversations to learn certain things and get yourself down to a fight in a combat sports gym. And also, don't skip your cardio, man. Your heart health is just as important as how you look. So train your cardio through those various different ways as well. Your list training, so your low intense steady state, as well as your VO2 max, so your sprints, etc. Put yourself through the paces and put yourself into those different states. They all have, this is what I mean when I say variety. Don't be limiting yourself. All right, boys, number 3 is nutrition and supplementation. Now, I don't want to spend too long. I'm trying to like blast through these topics. It should be very simple, right? Lean, whole, good meats, grass-fed, steaks, eggs, chicken, fish, salmon, etc. Good selection of meats. Eggs and steaks should be a staple, especially for like testosterone and all the good things that they do for your body. Right, besides that, good selections of carbohydrates and fats. They should also be a staple in your diet, fruits, vegetables, etc. In terms of fats, avocados, nuts, nut butters, olive oil, good variety. I don't need to touch on everything, meal plans on what to touch. Just eat a good clean diet. If you have 2 people, right, they both consume 3,000 calories. One consumes a load of shit and the other consumes steak, fruits and vegetables. Which one's going to perform, look and feel better? It's a no-brainer. So your nutrition is going to reflect how you look, how you perform, your skin. Not only that, but your sex drive, your T levels, everything is just going to carry over into as well. In terms of supplementation, I've just got a little list because it's a lot to go over. Like, where do you even start? I think that's what most people struggle with, is this, like, they don't really know where to start. So firstly, I'd get a checkup, see if you're lacking in anything and address that first. That would be foremost. Secondly, if I was to take a supplement for the rest of my life, it would be creatine. Again, naturally increases production of ATP, which essentially means energy, which helps for many different reasons. Muscular strength, size, performance, athletic performance. I think it's even proven to have like cognitive benefits, but just the most tested supplement, right? So 5 grams a day, 2 to 4 liters of water as well. Creatine would be my number 1. My stack at the moment is an electrolyte as well for hydration. You can do Cadence, you can do Pure Sport, you could do Humantra. Besides that, cheaper alternative would just be some Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan with water and maybe half a lemon or something, just to aid supporting digestion and vitamin C, etc. So electrolyte, creatine, L-citrulline, which I think I've touched on in previous videos, again helps with blood flow to all areas of your body, meaning more oxygen around your body. Just a staple that has been super beneficial for me. And then D3 and magnesium. That's just what I take. Again, do your own research as well and see what works for you, but that's what works for me. Your nutrition should always come first. Your supplements should just help aid and support your nutrition. The only other 2 supplements I'd probably say is a good pre-workout and maybe a good whey protein as well, if you're struggling to get that added protein in your diet, especially if you're maybe in a diet phase where you're trying to minimize calories. They're the only other 2 that I'd probably suggest. Number 4, recovery is your longevity. And I know for most people, especially while you're younger, nobody wants to finish with 5 minutes abs and stretching. Nobody. I know I didn't. But it's so important. I perform how I am now because of how much in the early stages I actually invested into my recovery, my rest. How can you do that? Best ways: ice bath, so cold exposure. The opposite side, hot baths, salt baths, sauna, steam rooms. Pool recoveries are really good. The most basic ones, obviously your sleep, stretching, yoga, mobility. These are all ways that help support your recovery. I think it's known that LeBron James spends, in the peak and the prime of his career, he spent $1 million a year just on his recovery, and that just shows in his longevity, right? Like, how long has he been performing at a top level? So don't underestimate your rest and your recovery, your days off, your rest days, even taking deloads. Deloads are super important. If you're feeling burnt out where you're not making progress, it's completely normal, especially if you've been training for years. Having breaks of deloads are super important. Number 5 is to build a base. Build a base before you even start. Like, for me, Before I even stepped foot in a gym, I come from a background of breakdancing and calisthenics. So that was the first time I was ever introduced at an early age, 13, to training, to lifting. So I was already very confident and competent in my own body weight before I'd even step foot in a gym. And I think most people should. You'll see a lot of people who come from maybe a boxing background or a football background. They're very strong in certain areas of their lifting, and I think it carries over into confidence. A lot of people who go into the gym don't really know where to start, or it's kind of an intimidating space for them because they're starting from the scratch. And you can do this very easily and very quickly, like just push-ups, pull-ups, dips, the basics at home. I was following, I don't know if anyone remembers, like Mike Cheng's 6-pack shortcuts. Like everybody's done that at some stage, I know it. Sit-ups and push-ups in your bedroom, but just building some sort of foundation before you start training, it can be just super beneficial. Number 6 is there will come a time where discipline will outweigh your motivation in the gym. And I mean this, I know it's like a cliche thing to say, it's not motivation, it's discipline, but I find that cringe. But there comes a time where you won't enjoy the gym. Like there comes a time, I've had that through many stages. Don't get me wrong, when I was a couple of years into the gym, I loved every single day of training, like every single day, giving 100%. But there comes a time where it then becomes more of a chore. But because you're so accustomed to actually training and to doing it, you also don't want to let it slip. It's also why I train so varied. So I'm constantly learning and developing new skills so I don't get bored. But there will come a time where you don't enjoy the gym and you don't want to go, but just forcing yourself to continue it and to keep going is also just going to be just as important. Number 7, boys, going to keep the last few quite short, quite sweet. But number 7 is to enjoy your journey and document it. There's one thing I'm kind of grateful and glad that I've filmed throughout the whole years. If anything, I wish I would have filmed more. But just take those progress pics, even if you don't intend on posting it like I do, content, social, whatever. It's just good to look back on. It's honestly, it's good to see your journey. But I would say just don't compare yourself to others. I could, and I probably have over the years, but now I understand genetics. I understand muscle insertions. I know that I don't look like anyone else, so I think don't compare it. Enjoy your own journey. Take pics, take those progression pictures, man. You never know what firstly could come from it if you do post content, but besides that, it's just good to look back on. Number 8, talking about comparison. Number 8 is nobody cares what you're doing in the gym. I can assure you. I was just editing this back and looking at old clips of me just filming in the gym, like traveling, whatever I'm doing. I realized that nobody really gives a shit. Like nobody's really watching. Like you may get a glance if you're filming with a camera or whatever, but even if you're not filming and you're just training, I think, like I said earlier, people have this kind of connotation or this thought in their head where they think people are maybe judgmental or, nobody cares what you're doing. Believe me, everyone's in their own world, in their own bubble. They've got their own things going on. So they really do not care what you're doing. Number 9 is to hire a coach smarter than you. And this can go for anything that you're doing in your life, right? Like if you want to become, the next, maybe you've got dreams and aspirations of becoming a boxer, you would obviously get a boxing coach, right? So don't fear reaching out to people for help and support. I think getting a coach is super beneficial. Like I said, if you do need a muscle game plan or you just want to get started, top link in description. For further coaching, just reach out to me on my Instagram. Follow my Instagram anyway, Jack J McCarthy. But just getting a coach can be super beneficial. I think some of my best physiques have been when I've had a coach, when I've had someone else taking care of all those little nitty gritty things that I don't want to have my mind focused on, and I can just really focus on my training. But no matter what you're doing, sprinting, boxing, running, football, whatever, coaches can be super, super beneficial. Number 10 to wrap it up is to keep that natty card. I think it's super important. I think it's super important for people to actually talk about this these days, because so many people on social media just want to hop on anything. They don't really think of the repercussions. They don't think of the long-term effects that it can have on your health. I think the only example where you would do that is bodybuilding. No other sport you would, right? So I don't think there's an excuse or a reason to do that. Maybe if you're 40, 50 and you need to hop on TRT then, when your mojo's gone, then it's the only time that it becomes like you need it. I'm glad I never have touched anything like that, I'm quite happy with how I look, how I feel, how I perform. Again, maybe TRT as you get really old, but what, when you're 50, 60? Don't fall into the trap of your social media stars out there who, believe me, not everybody's natural out here. But anyways, I think that's gonna do it for this vid. Bit of a chilled one, sit down video, bit more laid back. We got some vlogs coming soon. I'll pop up some videos on screen as well. Check them out. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy these other ones. But do all the good stuff, comment, share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
I'm so hot, yeah, I'm so right now. Who's not gang, bitch, let me find out.